students actually, so not to be interfered. The chest X-ray in a PA view is according to the source of the X-ray. If the source of the X-ray is hitting the front of the patient, it means it is AP view, so it's anterior of the patient, anterior posterior view. While if the source of the X-ray is hitting the posterior part of the patient, means it is PA view. And most of the cases we are using PA view in erect position. So this is the source of the X-ray, and the beam of the X-ray will come from the source, which is a tube of the X-ray. So it will hit the cassette on the left side. So this is the cassette, and the patient will be in front, and the front of the patient will hit the cassette. But to say, is it anterior or posterior, it depends on the source of the X-ray hitting which part of the patient. So in this case, for example, there is a PA view because it is hitting the posterior part of the body. In some cases, which the patient is unambulatory, or the patient is critical ill, or the patient is in ICU, for example, we use portal X-ray. The cassette will be put is just behind the patients, and there will be source of the X-ray hitting the front of the patient, so it's AP view. In any chest X-ray, we have about 3 densities according to the absorption of the X-ray. So if there is too much absorption of the X-ray, it means for example, bone and metallic shadows, they will be whitish color. يعني أوجه X-ray vet cavity هكا همي absorption بول patient إلى dense tissue for foreign body, there will be no X-ray beam hitting the cassette, so there will be whitish color. But if the X-ray is easily passed, for example, air, and hit the cassette, it will become black color. So it become in the X-ray there will be hypodensity, or it is just like in lytic lesions. So in between them, it is gray. For example, soft tissue, the heart, and the mediastinum will be gray color. So according to this X-ray, there will be air, which is a black color, in the apex of the chest X-ray, and bone, which is very white, because the absorption of the X-ray is too much by the tissue, and soft tissue in between all them. So it become gray color. We have a pneumatic way, A, B, C, D, E, F system. This is just to remind you and to make the doctor remember about not to miss any part of the chest X-ray. So to make it easy and easier for interpretation, we make it A, B, C, D, E, F. So for A, it is airway, we will check the bronchi, for example. And for the B, it's bone and soft tissue, so we have to check the B, the bones. And C for cardiac seal hood and mediastinum. And E for the diaphragm, right and left hemidiaphragm. And you have to check for the air and the diaphragm, and to check the gastric bubbles, which is seen in the left below the left hemidiaphragm, and also effusions, for example, pleural effusion, pericardial effusion, and F for field, and we are going to check for the parenchyma. We are not to forget the surgical clips and tubes and the lines, PICC line, every other than this pneumatic, we have to mention this also. So this is a diagram of on the annotation of the chest X-ray that's showing you the normal tissue. Before interpretation, you have to know whether this X-ray, this chest X-ray, is it diagnostic one or not. It is a bad qualified chest X-ray. We have the penetration. We should assess the penetration. Is it good or not? For example, on your right side, there is a chest X-ray, we have to barely see the spine over the heart, but not the intervertebral discs. So if we see intervertebral discs, it means that there is over penetration. If we cannot differentiate between the spine and the heart, it means it is hypopenetrated or underpenetrated. And usually we can trace the pulmonary vessels in a good qualified X-ray. For example, in this case, it is underpenetrated. Why? Because you cannot differentiate between the spine of the heart, and you cannot differentiate the diaphragms, the right and left hemidiaphragms. So this is underpenetrated, and there is the pulmonary marking. They are more prominent than it is actually. And for this chest X-ray on the right side, it is over-penetrated because anybody can see the intervertebral disc in the dorsal spine over the heart or the cardiac shadow. So it means there is over-penetration, and you cannot assess the lung parenchyma. They are too much dark in color. So this is inadequate lung details by this chest X-ray. And positioning and rotation is important.
Sorry, Doctor. Doctor, can you open the chat if anyone has questions to ask?
So if anybody has a question, you can interfere by your mic. You can unmute yourself. So it will be much easier because I have to go to the chat with other screen. Okay?
Okay, Doctor.
So anybody, if want to interact, he can unmute himself, and it will be easier because we are too little. According to the number of your class, it's only now, I think, is 15 students. So it will be easier. So according to, we have to check also for the positioning of the X-ray. According to the clavicles and equidistance from the end of the medial part of the clavicles and the spinal process, we have to measure the distance, or just not to bring a ruler for every chest X-ray, but we have just to have a look at the distance. There should be equidistance between the medial part of the clavicles and the midline, which is spinal process. So this is just for rotation. Why? Because if it is rotated, the area of the near the cassette will be much more darker than the area which are away from the cassette. So if the patient who is not fitting his chest, a good attachment of the chest to the cassette, there will be difference between the penetration of X-ray in either side. Gastric bubbles is important to check in the left side, below the left hemidiaphragm, just to know that the patient has normal and excluding the situs inversus. We will check for every soft tissue and the bony cage for any symmetry, for any deformities, fractures, any big masses on calcification, and any lytic lesion for the bone. So B, we have not to miss any bony lesion. And to make it easier, actually, we make the X-ray, chest X-ray zones. So any lesion, it is located between the lower end of the second rib. We are talking about, we'll check, annotate, exactly. So if any part of the chest X-ray, for example, the right side, any lesion above the second rib in the mid-clavicular line, so it means that this is upper zone. and any lesion below the second rib until the fourth rib. We are talking about the anterior ribs, which are more steeper. It means it is a middle zone, and any lesion below the fourth rib, the mid-clavicular line, it means it is a lower zone. And some of them, they are mentioning that any lesion above the clavicle, it is apex or apical lesion. So we have apical zone, we have upper zone, we have middle and lower zone in either side, so in the right and the left side. So I have some technical problem here. So I think we got a laser for, so these are the clavicles. So any lesion here, it means in between the clavicles and the second rib, it means we are in the upper zone, and this is the middle zone, and this is the lower zone. For example, in this case, we have too many lytic lesion regarding the bone. So we have not to miss all these lesions, the lytic lesion, the dark colored lesions over the bone. For example, in this case, we have too many streaks of air here, which are in surgical emphysema. You can see it over this chest X-ray. And you can see over the heart, so you have to not to miss the mediastinum and the cardiac shadow. So by C, if you mention C, so there are too many streaks of air here, which are color, dark color. So regarding the mediastinum, there is a pneumomediastinum. So about the diaphragm, so we will check any tenting of the diaphragm, any free air under the diaphragm in the right side and the left side, and we have to check for the gastric bubbles. And in the right side, so it's about 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters. This is a normal chest X-ray. The cardiac size is also important. The shape of the heart is important. Usually, we see the cardiac size if you measure the distance of the heart compared to the thoracic diameter and the diameter of the heart. It is usually it's less than half of the thoracic diameter. So for example, the diaphragm, also the costophrenic diaphragm and the cardiophrenic diaphragm, they should be sharp and clearly seen. For example, in this case, we can see very easily the cardiophrenic angles, here, and in this region also in the right side and the left side also. So normally they should be sharp. About the lung fields, so
Doctor,
Bale,
this you are not sharing the screen with us. Yes, now it's working now.
okay. So the lung fields. So anybody has a question, you can interfere. And we have to check the lung fields.
Doctor, your voice is not clear.
Is it from my side or is it in your side? I don't know. It's not clear for every student or. دقيقة شوية يعني okay? So the lung fields, we have to check for the infiltrates, for any increase in interstitial lung marking, for any masses, for absence of the margins, and air bronchogram, that you can see air within the bronchial tissue, and any increase in the vascularity. For example, in this case, you can see that there is opacification on the right apical zone and right upper zone. So it means that there is opacification in the side, and the transverse fissures, which is seen here, it is shifted up. So it means there is some kind of volume loss, in the right apical zone, which is most likely is due to CA bronchus and obstructing the right upper airway. And for this chest X-ray, as you mentioned, that the cardiac border should be clearly seen, but here there are loss of the cardiac border. For example, here there is some opacification, which is mostly it is a constellative lesion, and it is still hurting. So there is يعني تنشي فرق بينه وبين cardiac border, right cardiac border, and the opacification. So it means this is in the right middle lobe according to the anatomy. So I'm going to ask some questions if you are ready. So عقيد، دكتور عقيد توش معايا؟
بالي دكتور.
So I will ask you how to interpret in this chest X-ray according to our system, ABCDEF system. I'm going to help you with that. Can you tell me what do you see in this chest X-ray according to our ABCDEF system?
I can't see any air interfere across the main bronchus and right and left bronchus. B, there's no any bony lesion and they are symmetry. C, cardiac cell, it's small in size and the margins are not sharp and the border is clear.
Okay, excellent.
But doctor, the shape of the cardiac cell host is not
It's not normal.
like a usual. Yes.
So what do you see? So about the D, what's the problem with the diaphragm, for example?
The left hemi-diaphragm is almost flat.
So it's flat and it is lower than in normal position, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, okay, so we go for E effusions. Is there any effusion or pericardial or pleural effusion, which are usually seen
No.
on this side? No. So for F, what do you see by lung parenchyma? What's the difference between the right and the left side?
The left is very dark.
So you think that the pathology in the left side, right?
Yes.
Can you see the lung marking, for example, that you can see in the right side? There are some whitish color or lung marking here until the periphery. So do you see any of these structures on the left side?
No, doctor, I think it is an atelectasis.
Yes, exactly. This is actually it is a total collapse of the left lung. So this is the lung only. This is the lung tissue, and all the pleural cavity. This is occupied by air. So this case is a tension pneumothorax. Why? Because there is shifting of the mediastinum. So all the heart and the mediastinum shifted to the contralateral side, to the right side, and the diaphragm pushed down, and the lung tissue is collapsed. So this is collapsed lung. Only this is the tissue. Kyphodontia, like a fissure on pressure effect, so it will be collapsed. So this is emergency case that you have to put a chest tube and to drain this air in the pleural cavity and to make this lung, the collapsed lung, to make it re-inflated again. So what's about this chest X-ray, Janan? According to our system, Janan, can you hear me? So if you can hear me, you can unmute yourself and you can interpret. So please, everybody, change his name to a real name to know which of the who is present actually and interactively, and who is not available. So there's a one who is called iPad. Who is the iPad? So Sahand. Sahand?
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Sahand, can you tell me about what do you see according to system to make a sample? So we can interpret this chest X-ray.
Yes, the first one is about airway. We can see the trachea.
Okay.
I don't know, it's trachea or esophagus. And about the bone, there is no bony lesion.
So you normally you will see the trachea, right? You will not see the esophagus in normal.
Yes.
Okay.
About the bone and soft tissue, there is no any bony lesion fracture. I cannot see it. It's about the cardiac border, it's clear. There's no abnormal shape in cardiac border. About the diaphragm, I cannot see the left hemidiaphragm, but the right one, it's clear. It's in normal position. About the effusion, I cannot see any effusion, but there is a opacity in the right upper lung.
Okay.
That's all.
So what do you think about this opacity?
It could be calcification.
So as we say, calcification, it will be just like bone, and if it is soft tissue, it will be just like the heart shadow or cardiac cell heart. So according to this, actually it is just like cardiac shadow. So this is a soft tissue. So it is soft tissue, and if you see here, this is a transverse fissure. So this is a transverse fissure, which is partly it's up, or it is just like S shape. And this is consolidation, which is most likely seen by CA bronchus, large one, occupying this area. And if you concentrate, there is some erosion of ribs. So this is a case of CA bronchus, or consolidative lesion in the right, occupying right upper and partly the middle zone. Who is the next? Hanin. Hanin Majid.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Hanin, can you tell me about, just and to make it simple, according to our system, A, B, C, D, E, F, and just go through these, and it is not necessary to know the diagnosis, and I can help you with that.
Okay. I for airway.
So this is a chest X-ray of a neonate, or frontal chest X-ray or frontal radiograph of a neonate. Okay.
Yes. Showing the airway midline and
Okay. What's about B?
before the bones, there is no lytic lesions or abnormality seen in the bone. For C, a cardiac shadow, the contour of the cardiac cell hood is determined. It's visualized, and the contour is smooth. There is a consolidation in the field in the completely on the right side, and also a consolidation lesion in the left side, showing some darkening of the field on the left side as well.
Okay.
And multiple NG tubes. And
so you go systematically. For example, C, you mentioned about the cardiac cell hood and the mediastinum, and D.
D is diaphragm.
Okay.
Diaphragm, the costophrenic angle is sharp and visible, but the dome of the left side is not sharp, it's flattened.
So it is flattened. And what's about E?
E is effusion. There is most like air in the left side of the lung.
So you mentioned E, there is no effusion, and F,
no
fills of the lung. So what's the difference between the right line field and the left line field?
The right is more dark in color, and there is no the white lining of the lungfish, the bronchial lining of the in
Yes.
the left
So
lung.
yeah, so you cannot see the pulmonary marking here on the left side, and there is
Yes.
little hyperdensity or opacification on the right side. So this is a case of hairy membrane disease. Actually, you see some opacification all over the lung, and on the left side, you see this is air, with the black color is air. So according to ours, is it a soft tissue, it's a bone, or it is air? So this is air because it's very dark and you cannot see lung marking here. And there is some collapse of the lung. So this is the lung. Normally you cannot differentiate between the pleura and the lung parenchyma, but in this case, there is a pneumothorax, which is a complication, as you know, of the hairy membrane disease. This is a case of pneumothorax. So this is a tension pneumothorax. We have to at least we make a call for the parent of the pediatric or the consultant pediatrician, because they are going to drain this air, because there is collapse of the lung, shifting of the mediastinum. Here there is bulging. It means there is under tension. If you see, this is all the air is coming here, shift the mediastinum, and also there is flattening and depression of the left hemidiaphragm.
Doctor, what's the name of disease?
Hairy membrane disease, because of deficiency of the surfactant. So in premature baby. Okay. So the next one, it's not clear actually. This. Who is the next one? Blend Momarni.
بله دكتور.
The schema according to the ABCDEF system.
So A for the airway.
Okay.
If there is a normal airway. B, there is no any lesions, bony lesions.
Okay.
And C for the cardiac shadow, it is sharp and it's normal position.
So do you see all the margins of the cardiac shadow here?
So your normal. Yes, I see the cardiac shadow.
Yeah, so this is the margin of the left cardiac shadow, right?
Shadow, yes.
What's about the right side?
It's not clear.
It's not clear. Okay. So there is one finding according to the cardiac shadow or right cardiac border. And so what's about D?
D for the diaphragm. It's not showing.
Which hemidiaphragm?
دكتور هساعدكم يعني ديارنا كان نوبينا.
So this is partly because it is have been cut actually.
Yes.
And here you cannot differentiate, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what's about E? It's
if any effusions, there's no any effusion.
Effusion in the pleural cavity or any air in the pleural cavity.
Okay. And
so this is the line. Okay.
And if for the parenchyma there is darkening of the lung in the both sides.
Okay, this is it means this is over penetrated, right?
Yes.
It's over penetrated. Yes. So what's about F? So you mentioned about the F, it's dark color.
Yes.
But you see here, there is effusion here and there is fluid level. So this is air fluid level. It means there is some kind of fluid in this side, right? This is the normal lung.
Yes.
This is the fluid level. So if we do the cubitus for this patient, so it is الديكيوبيتاس يعني ما يدنا سطن اشتي وما أبو إكسرا جبتي ساكي لكن. So this is that are the cubitus. There is still fluid here, right? So this was the effusion. This was the effusion, and there is loculated effusion in this side, and we made it sure that it is a fluid. So it become, according to the gravity, it will be air float level. So this is a pleural effusion with some loculation in this side. So what is the next? Chlorine.
Yes, doctor.
What's about A, B, C, D, E, F system? On your left.
A for airway.
Okay.
Normal airway. B for bones. There is no any abnormality. C for cardiac cell hood. I can see the cardiac shadow.
Okay.
D for diaphragm. Normal diaphragm. Normal right and left hemidiaphragm.
Okay.
E for effusion.
So any
No
sort
any
of effusion.
No.
Okay.
And F for lung filled.
So do you see any difference between both lung fields? For example, here and here. So if you concentrate, there's slightly hyperdensity or overinflation on this side. It is very subtle. And there is some sort of density here, which is very unclear, actually. So we made it the cubitus, to make it sure is there any difference. The age is 1.5 years, is coming for dyspnea and cough. So we made that for the cubitus X-ray. So what do you think abnormality in this side? Do you see any abnormality? Any density? Which we bugging?
Yes, doctor.
So do you see in the cubitus in this X-ray, do you see any problem?
I don't know.
So this is a common finding in pediatric emergency hospital, that is the child of 2 years, 1 to 2 years, أقول ده speak cheat, bio cheat, anji, prinfischko cheat. So they will bring you with cough and suffocation, sometimes on dyspnea. So and there is some sort of difference between right and left. It's very subtle. So in the cubitus, so this is formally, actually, this is formally.
Yes.
Exactly. So we made a cubitus that show that there is a formally here. So this is a common finding in such age. Who is the next? Dania.
بلى دكتور.
Can you tell me according to the ABCDEF system,
بلى.
this and the interpretation of this X-ray?
A for the airway, the diaphragm, I couldn't see it, and
Which
the air.
sorry, you couldn't see the diaphragm on which side, the right or the left side, or in either side?
In either side, I couldn't see it.
So,
And
what do you think about this line? What do you think about this?
the costophrenic angle of the diaphragm?
Yeah, this is the diaphragm, right? Hemidiaphragm. But you cannot see the left side, you mean?
Yes. And for the bone, there's no pathology in the bone. And the cardiac does not marketed. We couldn't see the cardiac shadow. And
Okay.
for the diaphragm,
And
the
what's
right.
about the, so you mentioned C, which is cardiac shadow, cardiac silhouette, and the mediastinum. So do you think any problem within the mediastinum?
Yes, they are not marketed and not well appear.
So this is, if you see that this is the mediastinum, normally you see it until here. So it is it is shifted to the contralateral side, to the left side, right? So there is mediastinum problem. And
Yes.
you mentioned D, that the diaphragm, you cannot visualize them on the left side. And what's about E, diffusion?
Diffusion, there's no fusion.
So no,
And
there is no fusion. Okay.
Yes, for the lung field, there is a darker lung field in the left side, and the
So you
mediastinum
mean
is.
this side, the right side, right?
Yes.
So this is right, this is left. So here it is annotated that this is the left L. Sometimes they put R here, which is right. So you pick up the pathology actually. So there is a loss of lung marking here. So it is more dark color than usual. So this is a case of tension pneumothorax. Please don't miss such cases when you are in emergency hospital in the next 2 years. So you will be in emergency hospital. This patient will come to you with shortness of breath and severe dyspnea. You send it to the chest X-ray. They bring you this chest X-ray, and you are the only doctor who is sitting there at that time, so midnight. So this is normal lung tissue actually. You see lung marking here, but in this side you cannot see the lung marking. And if you concentrate on the mediastinum, there is shifting of the mediastinum. So all this is air, all air of the lung. So there is hyperinflation in the left side, in the right side, sorry, and shifting of the mediastinum and flattening of the diaphragm and some source of collapse or shift. So it means this is a tension pneumothorax. So the mediastinum and the cardiovascular under tension here. So this is emergency, please don't miss these cases. They are very important and they are emergency. Who is the next? Lava. Can you tell me, according to our system, not to miss any finding, can you tell me about this chest X-ray?
X-ray of the A for airway located in the midline. For bone, no bony lesions or deformities. C for cardiac shadow looking normal. D for diaphragm is normal, no changing, and sharp, there's sharp post-fringe angles. For F for lung field, there are multiple opacities all over the lung field.
So there are actually, if you concentrate on the right hemidiaphragm, it is not sharp like in the left side. So there is some sort of opacification or consolidation on this side, right? Because you cannot differentiate the cardiophrenic angle here, and it's not sharp, and there is some opacification or whitish color on this side that is silhouetting the cardiac border, right cardiac border, which means this pathology or consolidation on the middle lobe. So, and as you mentioned, there is a miliary shadowing in both lung fields. Miliary shadowing, it means we have some differential diagnosis. Commonly see which pathology or in which disease miliary shadowing?
TB.
TB. So exactly, we see it in TB, although we have other differential diagnoses like metastasis, especially from the thyroid cancer and other metastasis. So this case is a case of miliary metastasis from papillary thyroid cancer. It is very difficult sometimes to differentiate both of them, but with the history, taking history, this is a message actually for every doctor, especially who are sending a request for the chest X-ray. Please don't forget that you have to have some notes about the history of the patient. So every request of the patient, you send it to the chest X-ray or the CT scan, for example, you have to write some of the clinical notes. Please don't forget this message. And this is also the same patient, the last patient. This is a cross-sectional study. In pulmonary window, you see that there are miliary shadowing. So this was a case of miliary metastasis. See? So this is a difference between the chest X-ray and the CT scan of the chest. So there are more details about every part of the chest organs. So what is the next? Kimo, seguimos, So about this chest X-ray, actually, it is a case of miliary shadowing again, and there are bilateral miliary shadowing. We don't know actually the history of this patient. We don't know whether this is TB because we are missing the data. That's why I tell you always that you have to write down some of the notes of the patient. So regarding this chest X-ray, the only finding here is the multiple opacities or multiple masses in both lung fields. So this is a case of cannonball appearance. نظام أقول بها أن جهة دارينج حول العالمين كتب طبعا عادي همي آخر وكي كونكول تشيبون يطوبه بجنة cannonball appearance. So this is a case of cannonball appearance. Like طوبة باك طوبين يف عادي كتير كونكري. This is a description described in chest X-ray radiology. So the case of cannonball appearance. Cannonball appearance Usually it is a description of the metastasis for any reason of this. Commonly histogenic and thyroid, not papillary, is follicular, and some other metastasis that is right down here. So cannonball appearance is important finding. So this is also another case. Who can describe this chest X-ray? كيف كان as a vision with chest X-ray? La dernière, mon écouteur avec il y a Jean-Zan. David BG en GMA. Okay, so this case have a woman verifying incubation, the XR marking well. Just according, take it simply and just go through your system and you will pick up the pathology. شكرا درجة وقلق ويتين وش مشكلة إني قال درجة عرفت for extra marking so nobody كاس طبعا يأخذ ماذا. Okay, I will according to if you go through A, the airway, and a B, the bones, which have no abdomen actually, and C, if you concentrate on this is the cardiac shadow, cell hood, this is the mediastinum. This is a lesion actually, it sits here, but regardless of this, there is an round shadowing with fluid level seen in the right upper zone, but we have another lesion here, which is a retrocardiac. So this is a hidden area. If you don't concentrate on the hidden area, so you may miss this pathology actually. So this is a cystic lesion with fluid level. This is a case of hydatitis most likely because there is a water lily or undulating membrane here on this side. So we suppose that this is also hydatitis. So we have hidden areas. Usually it can be missed easily. We have 4 regions. One of them is below diaphragm. One of them is retrocardiac, for example, like this. You easily may miss this one, and apical and hilar lesions. So all these are hidden area. So if you finish your checklist, you have to recheck again the hidden area. So both apical area and both hilar region and retrocardiac and just below the diaphragm. So this is important, hidden area. And this is a case of, this is a case of pleural effusion with fluid level. So this is usually this case of empyema. So there is hydropneumothorax. And this case, again, we have seen a case just similar to this. This is the cardiac, and the mediastinal shadow is shift to the other side. And there is collapse of the lung, right lung, and there is air in the pleural cavity. So this is tension pneumothorax. If you concentrate on that, there is air coming until the mediastinum here. So this is the outline of the air. So this is a case of right side pneumothorax, tension pneumothorax. So please don't forget, this is emergency and this is important. You have not to miss pneumothorax. This case is some contrast bearing a CT scan nabon and the contrast دفع bronchoida for checking the bronchial system for excluding bronchiectasis, just to know that this was bronchogram. And this case is bronchogram with bronchiectasis. But nowadays, we don't use it anymore. Just I passed through this slide just to know that there was something called bronchogram. And actually, we have this chest X-ray. If you concentrate on that ABCDEF system, you may not see any lesion, but don't forget to check the cervical ribs, especially if you write down some of the notes that the patient has a problem on his arm, left hand, for example, while he's walking. So there is some cardiovascular compromisation, vascular compromisation on the left side. So this is the rib. This is a cervical rib. So you may see this chest X-ray normal, but you have to check also this region. This is a cervical rib actually. This is another case with cervical rib, and this is in the left side, right side, sorry. We have to check the bones very thoroughly. We have not to miss this notching. For example, there are notching and this on these ribs. So these are rib notching. We have many differential diagnoses, for example, coarctation aorta and neurofibromatosis. This is also annotating the rib notching in coarctation of aorta. So in this case, there is opacification on the right or the left lung region. So there is air bronchogram. So just to know that this is air bronchogram. You will see normal. You will not see it normally, and on this, because there is opacification of all the lung, and there is the air, the bronchial, still there is air in the bronchial system. So there will be air bronchogram. This is commonly seen in consolidation, pneumonic consolidation. But sometimes in malignancy, you will see it. So this is an air bronchogram, don't forget. On this chest X-ray, you see that there is opacification here. The fissure is shifted up and become just like S sign, so reverse S sign. So this is a golden S sign. If you see this one, is typical for malignancy, hilar malignancy here. And this is a consolidation, collapse consolidation of the left or the right upper lobe. And even there is shift of the air of the bronchi to the same side because of volume loss. So this is a case of golden S sign, golden S sign. This is a typical feature of CA bronchus in the right upper lobe. There are some cystic changes in this chest X-ray. Cystic, we have differential diagnosis for that. Cystic bronchitis, for example, sometimes you see it in a pneumonic bull. This case, we have only maybe 1 or 2 slides and we'll finish. This, we have a mass lesion in the left hilar region, which is atypical for CA bronchus because there's a mass here. And for elderly, especially, you have to put your first differential diagnosis as a mass lesion in the left hilar region is a CA bronchus. And I put this slide again. I put it again, just not to miss this slide is very important. You have to know and not to miss pneumothorax while you are sitting in emergency hospital. So this is the hypodensity of air within the left or sorry the right pleural cavity, and there's shift of the mediastinum to the contralateral side, and there's too much flattening because this is tension, because this is under tension. So this is tension pneumothorax. If anybody miss this case, it will be ended. It will be end with disaster actually. So Thank you for listening. If anybody, any student, future doctors have a question, you can ask me about it. Okay, you watch episode 11. You are going to finish our session.
Doctor,
Bene.
how can we comment on the mediastinum and vascularity of the lung?
So actually, vascularity, you see, is it, you will comment on that. Is it seen, for example, for this case, is it seen on this right side or not? So bronchovascular shadowing, you cannot see it on this side. But on the left lung field, you can see this is normally seen, but usually you will not see it until the periphery, but at least in the midway you see it. So this is a normal bronchovascular. Sometimes there is accentuation of the bronchovascular or lung marking. So this is sometimes seen in interstitial lung diseases. So either this normal pulmonary marking or accentuation, or sometimes decreased lung marking, just like, or absence of the lung marking, just like pneumothorax. Okay. So anybody has any question? So we are going to finish our session if nobody has a question about it. Thank you for listening and enjoy your time. Maybe you were sleeping. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.